The Civic Leadership Academy is a part of the Center for Effective Government, and through the Civic Leadership Academy, we make deep investments in the fellows as individuals, the fellows as a community of people who care deeply about our city and its civic infrastructure. And when they leave, we hope that they return to their institutions and rethink how they operate.
At the University of Chicago Center for Effective Government, we think deeply about strengthening our democratic institutions. The Civic Leadership Academy is a critical part of those conversations.
And that's what the Civic Leadership Academy does. It brings people together across difference to learn from one another, to engage one another, and to identify profitable points of collaboration going forward in the service of a better city.
We're so thrilled to welcome the 2022 cohort. Our fellows are taught by University of Chicago faculty, and they have the opportunity to forge long-lasting civic relationships with each other.
We as a city face profound challenges. Some of them are long-standing, having to do with segregation and poverty. Others are newer, things like a pandemic. All of these challenges and the harms that they cause also are opportunities for us to rethink how we come together, what our priorities are, what investments we want to make, and how we think about more collaboratively speaking across difference in the service of a better, more vibrant future for Chicago.
Our 2022 Civic Leadership Academy Fellows represent leaders from government and nonprofit from across the city of Chicago and Cook County.
This is a really special program. It's not your standard leadership training curriculum. It asks really hard questions, and it brings fellows together in community with the very best faculty we have at the University of Chicago to explore and to challenge and to engage. And along the way are discoveries that aren't of our own design. I mean, they are genuine discoveries. And when those moments happen, they're really extraordinary.
Good evening, and welcome to the 2022 Civic Leadership Academy Welcome Ceremony. My name is Sadia Sindhu, and I'm the Executive Director of the University of Chicago Center for Effective Government, housed at the Harris School of Public Policy. Today we are honoring the 2022 cohort of the University of Chicago Civic Leadership Academy as they embark on their 6-month journey. We're joined by members of the CLA alumni community, faculty, advisors, and champions of the program. We're also so pleased that colleagues, families, and friends of CLA are able to join us from afar. I'd like to extend a warm welcome to our distinguished speakers tonight, University of Chicago President Paul Asados and Dean Catherine Baker of the Harris School of Public Policy. Dean Baker began her role as the Dean of the Harris School in 2017. And since then, her support for CLA and the part it plays in Harris's mission and critical work has been unwavering. And President Asados, we are so thrilled to have you at the helm. Your commitment to strengthening the bonds of the university to Chicago and the Southside communities and bringing the work of public engagement and democracy to center stage at this critical moment gives me immense hope for the future of CLA. Thank you both for your support of our work and for your steadfast commitment to the civic fabric of our community here in Chicago. You'll also hear tonight from Angela Rudolph, Director of Equity at the Grand Victoria Foundation and a member of the CLA class of 2018, who will Angela will deliver an alumni address on behalf of the entire CLA community. Thank you, Angela, for your leadership here in Chicago and for lending your voice and words of wisdom for tonight's cohort. I must also say a word of thanks to the entire team at the Center for Effective Government, my colleagues at the Harris School and the University of Chicago, and the numerous supporters and partners of the Civic Leadership Academy who are joining us either here tonight in Hyde Park or online. You are all a part of what makes CLA so special. And lastly, I want to express our immense gratitude to our funders, whose generosity makes CLA possible. They are the Harris Family Foundation, the Searle Funds at the Chicago Community Trust, the Walder Foundation, the Oriach Family Fund, Wicklow Capital, and the Harris School of Public Policy. Thank you. The Civic Leadership Academy is truly a one-of-a-kind program, and we're so thrilled to welcome our 8th cohort of the program tonight. When the University of Chicago's Office of Civic Engagement and the Harris School launched CLA in 2014 and began recruiting its first set of 30 government and nonprofit fellows, we did not yet appreciate the full power of CLA, nor did we have a full vision for what it would become. But we did stick to the notion that bringing a diverse set of practitioners from across Chicago's civic space with rigorous, multifaceted programming and an interdisciplinary curriculum led by a renowned University of Chicago faculty was an investment worth making. By 2019, when CLA became part of the Center for Effective Government at the Harris School, our network of fellows and alumni represented not only the capacity of individual leaders, but the collective impact that those leaders could have on the institutions and organizations they lead, and a testament to the strength and power of our community and local democracy. CLA found a natural home at CEG, where we grapple with the ambitious challenges of securing the future of our democracy alongside leaders, scholars, and experts committed to pursuing reforms in service of a more effective, a more inclusive democracy. The CLA program and our nearly 250 alumni and fellows have taught us that this work often begins at home. Never has this been more clear to us than in the last 2 years, a time that has tested all of us, forced us to reckon with a whole host of challenges, new and old, and shed new light on both the threats our democracy faces and the opportunities that effective leadership affords us. In many ways, these past 2 years have been marked by distrust, dysfunction, and division, the ways in which government can falter and fall short, particularly as we look to our national leaders and institutions. And yet, as I think about the critical work our CLA fellows are doing across the city and county every day in key positions where they shape public policy, advocacy, and programs that are essential services to Chicagoans, I'm filled with hope. From being on the front lines of the fight against COVID-19 to leading the charge for criminal justice reform and meaningful reckoning on racial injustice, from arts and cultural institutions to City Hall, our fellows have had an immeasurable impact on our great city during these difficult times. And not only are they affecting change to policy and programs that they lead, they are thinking critically about the systems and institutions within which they function. In these efforts, they are restoring trust, they are building resilience, and they are reimagining how our city and democracy can work for its people. In many ways, they are models for how we at the Center for Effective Government, and we as a university, a community, and a country, can improve the capacity of government to solve public problems. The impact of these individuals doesn't begin or end with CLA, but so many of our fellows mark CLA as a critical step on their journey, one that this new cohort is just beginning. There is no doubt that we will continue to be tested as elected officials come and go, as new complex policy problems emerge and old ones morph, and as our communities and constituencies are cast aside. But I know that our fellows will rise to meet these challenges. Our charge for CLA is to make a lasting difference on the civic fabric of our city. It is our hope that in the next 6 months, lasting far beyond that, you come away with a deep appreciation for critical thinking, introspection, and collaboration, all essential qualities of effective leaders. We hope that you lean on one another, both in moments of challenge and celebration, and when real opportunities for change arise, our fellows have a community of partners to call upon. I'm incredibly proud of all of our alumni and our fellows and what they've accomplished, and I'm thrilled to welcome the class of 2022 to the Civic Leadership Academy community. With that, I am delighted to introduce the Dean and Emmett Dedman Professor at the University of Chicago Harris School of Public Policy, Catherine Baker. Dean Baker is a leading scholar in the economic analysis of health policy, who just last week testified before a U.S. Senate subcommittee about the importance of Medicare and opportunities for reform. Dean Baker has served as the Dean of the Harris School since 2017. In that time, she has been a steadfast supporter of the Civic Leadership Academy and the work of our fellows across the city and county. Please join me in welcoming Dean Catherine Baker.
It is easy to be a steadfast supporter of the Civic Leadership Academy when I look at all that you have accomplished and the wonderful talents that you're bringing not only to our community here at the University of Chicago, but to our city and in demonstration for cities around the world. I am proud to house the Civic Leadership Academy at Harris, so thank you for all of your work. It's wonderful to be here together. We're finally starting to get together again with, of course, our fellows, but our supporters, our faculty, and our CLA alums. As you have gathered, new CLA fellows, once we have you, we never want to let you go. You are ours for all time. I hope that was in the paperwork that you saw. And you know you're joining a network of incredibly dedicated and engaged alumni, and that's one of the wonderful things about this program. You're coming here to learn things from faculty, to acquire tools, but also to build relationships and a network that is going to serve you in your work for years to come. One of the key features of the CLA program is bringing together leaders from nonprofit organizations, from the city government, from the county government, because the problems you are wrestling with have never been more pressing, and it's a team sport. It is an interdisciplinary endeavor. The problems you're wrestling with are multifaceted. The people you're trying to help are multidimensional, and the problems have to be multifaceted, crossing disciplines, crossing programs, crossing sectors to really help support our whole community. And I know that that's part of what motivated you to come here, and it fits in so well with what we're trying to do across a wide array of programs at the university, and that we're relying on your help in going forward to continue to be mentors for students who come in afterwards, to be able to build networks that continue to evolve in the city. We bring together at the Harris School people who study problems from the perspective of economics, which is the best one, and political science, and physics, and psychology, and education, because those ideas really cross-pollinate to generate new solutions. And bringing together people from different sectors does the same thing. That's one of the reasons that we draw on partners from across the university. We are, as I have mentioned, very proud to house CLA, but it comes from collaboration with the Office for Civic Engagement, the Crown School, the Law School, Booth School of Business, Graham School. All of these faculty want to work with cities leaders like you and want to bring their perspective and their discipline to the table. And we need you to bring your whole person to the table so that we can all learn from different experiences, from different backgrounds, from different organizations. And that's one of the real powers of CLA. So we're really glad to have you here, not only as three-dimensional people, but as multifaceted people across all of your experiences. I'm also really excited about the way that CLA can help us accomplish so many of our goals at the Center for Effective Government at the Harris School at the university. Part of the raison d'etre of a policy school is to not only bring together those disciplines to drive our knowledge forward, but to then have that knowledge land with real impact in our city. And we all care deeply about our community, our home city, the South Side, Chicago, Illinois. But I also like to think that the work that we do and the model that you present is a model for lots of other cities around the country and around the world. That's part of why we want to be sure you get as a cohort to other places, but we also want to spread the learnings that we generate here to communities all over the planet. And I think there's so many new ideas that have come out of the programs that you work on and the innovation in Chicago that light the way for lots of other cities. There are common human problems that we are all wrestling with, and I think your cohort and the cohorts that have come before you have generated a lot of inspiration for people everywhere. So that's why we're so excited when we get to bring in a new cohort. And I'm particularly excited to be able to introduce our next speaker, who's President Olav Asados, who's also starting a new journey here at the University of Chicago as our incoming president. And he has already demonstrated such a depth of understanding and engagement with the work of our city and how our university can help contribute to that. He's a distinguished leader and also a distinguished scientist. He comes to us from Berkeley, where he was not only the provost, but also a former head of the Department of Energy's Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory and a renowned scientist recipient of dozens of awards that I will not list, though you should look them up because they are really impressive. And he works on nanotechnology, has formed private sector companies, and has engaged in educational reform at Berkeley, for example, trying to bridge the digital divide and make sure that technology was available for students everywhere as we all collectively wrestled with the challenges posed by COVID. So he really bridges all of the crucial endeavors of the university, and we are extremely lucky to have him as our new leader, and very grateful with all of the things that he is doing that he could take the time to be with us here this afternoon. So please join me in welcoming President Olav Asados.
Well, thank you so much. I heard about CLA, and of course it was sounded like a great idea. And then I came into this room, and you were all having your photos taken. And, you know, there was a good buzz. There was good energy amongst you. I could feel it. I could feel that energy. And that counts for so much. Then, as we were sitting here, all these alums started coming in. And they were happy, and they were coming and visiting. And oh, my gosh. You can't, that's just the ultimate. And you know, what Kate just said, Dean Baker just said, all of it echoed so true to me, that you're here, you're going to become a network, you're going to support each other, and you're going to help make the city stronger in so many ways. But I also just want to reflect on how lucky we are to have you come and be a part of our community. Because you're going to come and teach us a lot of things inside the university, and we're grateful for that. We're going to be partners for, in many, many dimensions. It's also, I will reflect a little bit on some of the things that have been said, but they bear repeating. Cities are very special places. They are places where people from many different diverse backgrounds can come together, where there's enormous potential for creation, for economic activity, for learning from each other, for culture to emerge. There's so many wonderful things that happen in cities, and that's why cities around the world are just becoming more and more important as the focal points of all aspects of nations and peoples. And yet, at the same time, cities have all these dynamics inside them of the potential for growing inequality, for segregation, for negative impacts on the environment, for challenges to public health, for challenges to public safety. All of those things happen inside cities as well. So they're these very complex places. And Chicago itself is very special. It's a place that has untold potential. When I was still contemplating whether to come back to the city where I was born and come into this role, you know, all I could think about was, look at all the amazing things that are here that can make such a vibrant city. We have, I will say, an amazing collection of universities that can partner together. We have a lot of successful industry. We have access to water. We have some wonderful industries that have been here for a long time. There's just so many things that you look at. And yet we also know that this city has a long history of challenge. And some of the things that I mentioned to you about segregation and inequality and the challenges to public safety and the injustices that have gone on, all of those are very real here in this city. And so to me, the notion that we would partner together with our city government, with the county, with all of the public agencies, with nonprofits, that we would all come together and partner, and also that we would bring in the other partners, corporate partners, the universities, essentially all the stakeholders of the city, that we would come together and try to partner to solve problems and to advance the city. Well, that is what I find very attractive as I come in. Like you, I'm a newbie here. I'm in my own University President Leadership Academy right now, and and it's good, and but I'm in that too, and I reflect on that and say, well, it's all about kind of building out these partnerships and learning to work together and trying to see how we can solve these kinds of problems. So I'm very motivated by that, and I do want you to know that as I've stepped into this role, I view making sure that this university is a partner to our nearby communities, a strong partner to our nearby communities, is going to be a really major focus for me. And also trying to make sure that this university does everything it can to help the city of Chicago to be a stronger place that realizes all the potential that I talked about just a moment ago. So I'm excited that you're here, and I think it's going to be quite an experience, that you're going to have a chance to challenge each other. That's a very University of Chicago thing. You know, you're going to be able to just put it all out and, you know, frankly say what's on your minds, debate with each other, learn from each other, and also just become colleagues, friends, and people who will work together for decades to come as you become the stewards in so many ways of the city. So welcome, and I'm excited to learn how you're doing. Probably I'll come back towards the end and just find out, you know, how did they do? But, you know, I'm sure it's going to be good, and so thank you, and I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you, President Asados. We'll have to have you back in June for graduation. I now have the distinct pleasure of introducing you to the Director of the Center for Effective Government, Professor William Howell. In addition to his role as CEG's director, Will is the Sidney Stein Professor of American Politics at the University of Chicago, with appointments at the Harris School, the college, and the Political Science Department, where he serves as chair. He is also a member of the American Academy of Arts and Sciences and host of .Another Politics podcast. Will is an expert on separation of powers in American political institutions, especially the presidency. He's a thoughtful teacher, trusted colleague, and all-around wonderful person, and we're so proud to have him be part of CLA. Please join me in welcoming Will Howell. I mean, that's not fair.
Oh, man, it's good to see you all. Thanks, Sadia, for that lovely introduction. And to President Asados and to Dean Baker for being here at this launch. And to our colleagues around the university, at the Harris School Center for Effective Government, partners and supporters of the Civic Leadership Academy. I got notes, and the first thing I was supposed to say is I'm excited. I'm giddy. I'm like thrilled that we are here together in person. It's overdue, and it's been a long period of isolation and struggle, and to be able to come back together and to see each other and to be with each other, I'm so grateful for. And I'll say, too, I've been thinking about a fair bit, as I suspect many of you have, about resiliency. It's something that we've had to draw upon over the last couple of years in our family lives, in our communities, in our places of work. It's a topic, I'll say, we've added to the CLA curriculum for the first time. We're going to take a shot at like talking in a serious way about what is resiliency, how do we understand it, what do we do about it. And I want to suggest, too, it's a feature of CLA. Amidst considerable challenges, the challenges of the city, the challenges of this pandemic, the manifest threats of democracy, to democracy, CLA has grown and in important ways prospered. And so I want to give a little rah-rah for CLA and where it's come from, if that's okay. Because it's a place of strength, and that strength comes from a variety of places. In part, it comes from the deep alignment of mission and goals in the nested homes at the University of Chicago, where it resides, at the Center for Effective Government to start, CLA breathes life into the fact that leaders are constrained and enabled by the institutions in which they operate. And in turn, an essential role of leadership is to challenge and strengthen those institutions, sometimes from within and sometimes by being challenged from without. Seated at the Harris School in turn, you can see the nesting, at the Harris School of Public Policy, CLA takes to heart the idea that for leaders to effect meaningful, lasting change, they must be armed with analytic tools and habits of mind and a certain commitment to rigor and vigorous inquiry. And the long history here at the University of Chicago reminds us at CLA that freedom of expression and the free exchange of ideas enable us to not only expose and tolerate our differences, but to listen. It's not just about talk, it's about listening and hearing one another and clarifying our differences when they arise and finding common ground, constructive common ground, and putting that to good work. CLA is resilient too because it's not your typical leadership training program. CLA does not stand for the Cheering Leadership Academy. We are not a rah-rah organization, right? We are a place that thinks seriously and hard about what the purposes of leadership are and the way that leadership is indispensable in certain venues. And in other places, we need other avenues for productive social change. And we need to put those to work. We need to recognize the work, too, of community organizers and managers and all kinds of agents of social change that sometimes embody facets of leadership and sometimes embody other kind of crucial characteristics that we need in order to make a difference in our city. And that's what we do here at CLA. We struggle hard. And we've started this, right? We've in our own class, we've grappled with what are definitions of leadership, what are the ethics and morality of leadership, and we get in deep, and at the end of the day, there's this sense of like, all right, how do we wrap it up? And we can't wrap it up, right? And that's going to happen again and again, right? Because what we want to do is dive in deeply into these topics and try to make sense of them in order to deepen our commitment to one another, our commitment to this city, and to see more deeply into the problems that this city faces. So that's what we're doing here at the Civic Leadership Academy. It's resilient too because it's committed to experimentation and it's open to the possibility of discovery, real, genuine discovery. We don't script the insights and breakthroughs that our fellows that will make. You come to them on your own. And so there are moments where there are genuine discovery that are born of an interaction between one of you and a lifting up of the experience that you've had and putting that into productive conversation with a faculty member who's read deeply about the subject matter, and we see what comes of it. And we hope, we who work at the Civic Leadership Academy and try to set this stage, that something interesting will come, and it does. And it does again and again, but we don't know when. And so sometimes it happens in the classroom. Sometimes it happens in conversations that you all have at work afterwards and you bring back to the classroom. Sometimes it might happen on the streets of Paris. We're going in a week. Yeah. And so, but there it is. And it's a real thrill year after year to come back and see these moments and pay witness to them. Above all, though, CLA has found resilience and success because of our fellows and the work that you all do. I mean this when I say that, like, when I think about people to look up to, like people who I want my kids to sort of take in and behold, it's you. The kinds of commitments that you make to our city that's facing such profound challenges and yet that we all care so deeply about. And do so often without recognition. We're on a stage today, but so much of the work that you do is not celebrated in ways that frankly it ought to be in the world that we live in. And so it is a great honor and it's humbling to be able to come into community with all of you year after year. And there it is, it feeds the resilience of CLA. And so we enter this, our 8th year, and we get to welcome this fabulous new cohort that we're just getting to know. As Sadia, as you mentioned earlier, as administrations come and go and challenges change, CLA and its network of fellows endures. And it's such a pleasure to start anew with another class and set to work with all of you. So hooray. And so it's hooray, get to start to work with all of you, and then I look up and I see all these alumni, and I get to welcome as our next speaker, Angela, 18 class. So Angela is an outsider and lover of all. She has worked within the city's.
I followed the lessons from her lecture and workbook, hosted regular chats with my team. Race, class, and gender, like in the real world, presented its challenges. Voices were sometimes raised and feelings did get hurt. Yet through it all, as a collective, we relied heavily on the ideas that we committed to at the beginning of our cohort year. Namely, that public service is our calling, and our love for this city and county is so enduring that we are going to add to our already full plates, personal and professional lives, even more work, because we want to create spaces to learn more about who we are as leaders and change makers in our nonprofit and civic landscapes. What I learned during my time in CLA is that in order for me to be my best self, I must be my full self. Angela, Southside girl, nerd, daughter of the South, granddaughter of sharecroppers and my ancestors' wildest dream. I want to tell you all, that is awesome. You should lean back into that confidence. Listen more and talk less. Learn from those around you, particularly your cohort members. There is strength, power, and knowledge sometimes in silence. I am genuinely excited for every one of you all in the new cohort. I predict this will be an incredible year. No pressure to you, Sadia, and Will and Faith. But I'm excited to hear in June what you learned, what you know, and what is coming next. Congratulations and welcome to CLA.
Angela, thank you so much for sharing with the CLA community tonight. Can we get another round of applause for Angela? Hi, everyone. My name is Faith Powell. I am the Assistant Director with the Center for Effective Government and the Lead Administrator with the Civic Leadership Academy program, which means I get to interact every single day with this amazing cohort and our alumni here, so I'm just so honored, and it's such a pleasure to work with all of you. As our alums line up, I'm honored to officially introduce you all now to the 2022 Civic Leadership Academy cohort. I'd like to invite Will and Sadia to please join me up on stage. And And fellows, when your name is called, please walk across the stage and pause for a photo with Will and Sadia. And before we get started, y'all are doing great. Before we get started, I want to share that two of our fellows in the 2022 cohort are not able to be with us tonight. And so we're going to shout them out some extra love and just sending them so much love and care from here tonight. So the first person, and someone who is watching from the YouTube live stream, Cynthia Alfaro with My Block, My Hood, My City. Denerica Brooks, Legal Aid Chicago. Maggie Clemens, who could not be with us tonight, but Maggie Clemens with the Chicago Public Library. All right, Dan, you're up. Daniel Cruz, Chicago Housing Authority. Megan Cunningham, Chicago Department of Public Health. Rodolfo De Jesus, Magoon Institute for Healthy Communities at Lurie's Children's Hospital. Nyla R. Dieb from Chicago Commons. Sav Felix from the Law Office of the Cook County Public Defender. Rachel Fink with Looking Glass Theater Company. Luis Gonzalez, 1 Million Degrees. Jarima N. Gorham, Burst into Books. Ashley Greer Chambly, Law Office of the Cook County Public Defender. Gerald Blank Hankerson, Council on American Islamic Relations, CARE, the Chicago office and Illinois chapter. Bradley Johnson with Build Inc. Robert Klein with the Cook County State's Attorney's Office. Eileen Ladson with Ada S. McKinley Community Services. Lisbeth Lianos, Office of the Cook County Board President Tony Preckwinkle. Ricardo Magallon, Cook County Government Department of Environment and Sustainability. Victoria Marzullo, Chicago Police Department. Caitlin McElroy, Cook County Board of Commissioners, 15th District. Dion McGill, Strengthening Chicago's Youth at Lurie's Children's Hospital. David Moskowitz at Chicago Public Schools. Robin C. Owens, City of Chicago Department of Assets, Information, and Services. Michelle Rashad, Imagine Inglewood If. Cindy Chan Rubik, City of Chicago Department of Planning and Development. Yaritza Sandoval, Urban Alliance. Scott Smith with the Cook County Assessor's Office. Sana Iftekaruddin Syed. With the Inner City Muslim Action Network. Jose Cheche Turubiartes, Lambda Legal Defense and Education Fund. And Roy Walker III, Malcolm X College, City Colleges of Chicago. Congratulations, CLA 2022. Let's have one more round of applause for these fellows. So this concludes the formal program this evening. Another big thank you to those who make CLA possible. Love and gratitude to the entire CLA community of alumni, faculty, and advisors, and all who joined us virtually via live stream tonight. Thank you so much. We are going to now have the CLA 2022 fellows come up for a photo, but for everyone in the room, we would invite you all to please make your way back to the reception area. Be sure to take a boxed dinner on the way out with you all. It's so good to see you all. Thank you all so much for being here. Congratulations all.